Why do we do this? What's it for? I don't know.
Proper Royals!
Hi, everybody. It's Adam from Proper Royals. I want to say hey to you today. And today I want to talk about why ball pythons. What a crazy topic, right? I'm a little bit of a nut in my life, particularly when it comes to business and hobbies, about asking why. Here's why I'm a nut about it. Asking why is a great way to reaffirm things that I enjoy and that I appreciate. It's also a great way for me to set boundaries and hopefully to set some goals too. So let me use an analogy for a moment. Outside of ball pythons, one of my great loves is music. And I love music. Specifically, I love guitars. Real fast. Look, obviously, I didn't come to talk to you about guitars. I bring up the guitars because it's a good analogy. Guitars are a hobby of mine, but if I didn't set boundaries and define what I wanted to get out of those guitars, it would get out of hand. I would just spend money on guitars willy-nilly. But if I put boundaries on myself, I've had to find out a way to fund those guitars. So I started performing. I didn't know how to get gigs. I learned how to get gigs. I went and I hit the street and I figured it out. And that's kind of my point on ball pythons. I know I like ball pythons. Sometimes you don't have to ask why about things you like. I like this t-shirt. You don't have to ask why about everything. But when you start spending money and you start seeing something that can intrude on family time, work life, the responsibilities of an animal, like you need to have some idea of what you're doing and where this is going to take you. And it doesn't have to be totally mapped out because you're never going to have all those answers and you got to get started at some point. But I thought I would share with you my reasons why and maybe challenge you to think about your own reasons why. And the other thing that happens is once I define what I like and what brings me joy, and when I define the why, I start setting goals for myself about what would be fulfilling to me. And for me, that includes some financial goals, and that's where the aha moment went that, hey, maybe this makes sense to look at as kind of a fun family side hustle and certainly a way to fund itself, but maybe a way to fund some other really cool things in life. So I'll take you through that. It started as a pet. Why have a ball python as a pet? I had some in college for no good reason, and it'd been a while since then, and we were in the middle of a pandemic, and I said, you know what? I'm going to buy a ball python. And I did all the homework, and I did the research on it, and in there, I discovered the morphs have exploded in the past 20, 25 years since I was in college. I never knew about morphs. I mean, there was like the albinos that were more expensive than a house, and there were just ball pythons. That was it, man. These, like this guy, this Orange Dream, that didn't exist back then. And I started doing this research, and man, there's bananas, there's pastels, which probably did exist back then. But man, all the recessive explosion, none of that existed back then. So it became really intriguing to me. And then, of course, one turned into two, and two turned into five, and so on and so forth. And now I have plans to purchase my 13th within a year, which is a little crazy sounding. So why? Well, it was intriguing to me. I find it peaceful. I have a stressful job. I work 50, 60, 70 hours a week sometimes at the height of my season. And coming down here in the evenings provides a lot of relaxation. It takes my mind off of the stress of work. It sounds funny, but I find fulfillment in caring for other animals, and these are neat animals to me. So those are the kind of the emotional reasons I found in my family. I have an 8-year-old son, and it really clicked with him. He loves these ball pythons, and we dream about what morphs and breeding we're going to handle together. And I think it's a good way to teach him responsibility and care and empathy and compassion for other animals and that sort of thing. So all those things fit with my values, and those were things that were important to the why. Lastly, I'll tell you a funny story. To cut to the chase, lastly, is a little bit of a financial angle. But as I was doing my research on that first ball python I wanted to buy, I came across one of Chris's videos, and he kept using the word investment when he talked about buying a ball python. And I remember being like so like full of myself and egotistical that I really chuckled. I was like, investment? This guy doesn't understand the difference between a purchase and an investment. And then he mentioned the word morph market, and it all went, snowballed from there. Part of the why is the fun of seeing if I can make it, seeing if I can get into this game and really just cover my expenses. My first goal is to pay myself back for all these snakes. I didn't put them on credit cards. There's no outstanding debt related to this. That's not what hobbies are for, in my opinion. You should never go into debt for a hobby. However, I've spent a lot of money. I did a video just on the finances of it, and I'm well over $4,000 in snakes and equipment that I bought this year. And that's not chump change for me. I certainly don't work as hard as I do to throw around $4,000 on hobbies. So recouping that expense and then looking at ways to grow is kind of the final part of the why. And that has really stoked something in me personally. I love business. I love the challenge of learning a new angle, finding a new mountain to climb. And this is a neat mountain, and there is frankly a lot of money out there. And again, I'm not in it for the money. I'm really in it to fund my own hobby. Same with those guitars. There's a reason you've never heard of my music career, because it's nothing I'm going to get famous for. However, it does fund my hobby, and it's allowed me to purchase guitars I never dreamed I would be able to own. And if I can combine all that into a blender, there's kind of the whys for me. So I challenge you to think of why ball pythons for yourself. If it's just a hobby, that's cool. If it's a financial gain, that's cool. But then you start setting boundaries. If it's this but not that. For me, it's not just accumulating random snakes. I saw a killer deal on a pinstripe the other day. Man, part of me is still kicking myself. Why didn't I buy it? I didn't buy it because it doesn't fit into my plans, and I've only got so many minutes in the day that I can spend caring for these animals. I can't just turn this into a snake hotel that I just pick up every one that I can and feed and give time and all that to. I know that, without the additional help of my son or my family caring for these with me, I'm pretty well capped out, man. There's a lot of work caring for 12 snakes properly and humanely every day. And keeping a high quality, quality in, quality out mindset to this collection. So it sets boundaries. I couldn't buy that pinstripe. It was a great deal. Looked like a great snake. Probably a great, I don't know if it was a breeder or I don't remember where I saw it. But the point being, it didn't fit my why. I'm not in pinstripes right now. I focused on other things, and I'm kind of full up on what I do want to focus on. I've got one slot left that I have plans to purchase for, and then there's no more until I'm producing and hatching hatchlings. So that's one example of where the why reeled me in and kept me focused on what I need. It's helped me with what morphs I want to buy, what sexes I want to buy, and it's helped with the breeding plans. So feel free to share in the comments, what is your why? Why are you in ball pythons? What do they do for you? What are things I'm not thinking of? They're a great family outlet. They're a great stress reliever for me. I think that there's a financial angle to at least cover my expenses, if not make a little bit more. And they're just incredibly cool. Thanks for hanging out today. I hope you learned something. I hope I got you thinking. I know this is kind of a long, rambling video. Cheers to you wherever you are. See you next time.